She works with leaders, architects, and even the European Commission to design a world inspired by nature.
Never think you cannot change jobs. If things are a bad choice, I had one choice once where I only lasted like 9 days because I hated the work. With the current AI, it is at the fingertips of the young people. So they can really look for prompt lists and how to find it for their innovations, their startups, their scale ups. Really breathe deeply and make sure that you just have a happy and relaxed life because stress is the biggest ill maker.
You're listening to the Future Jobs Podcast, the show that explores the skills, careers, and technology shaping tomorrow's world of work. Hosted by Fahad JobsWala.
Welcome to the Future Jobs Podcast. I'm your host Fahad JobsWala, and today I'm joined by an extraordinary guest, Désirée Driesenaar, founder of abundanism.com and the movement Abundance for All. Desiree is a globally respected thought leader in biomimicry, systems change, and regenerative innovation. She works with leaders, architects, and even the European Commission to design a world inspired by nature, where abundance is the foundation, not scarcity. She is also a writer, educator, and storyteller who has published hundreds of articles, built global communities, and lives what she teaches, creating change from a regenerative farm in the Netherlands to projects in Greece, Africa, and Asia. In this episode, we'll explore what it truly means to design businesses, systems, and lives that mirror nature, thriving, adaptive, and abundant. Let's dive in with Desiree Driesenaar and uncover how abundance for all can become a living reality. So, hey Desiree, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Fine. I'm also an amazing podcast, Fahad.
Thank you so much, Desiree, and I really appreciate you joining me today. And it is going to be super amazing. Uh, so, could you tell us what is your story?
Yes, well, I wasn't always in biomimicry. I wasn't even that interested in nature, I must say. So I don't know. I had, of course, I started my career in, well, 1988. Oh, young people, please. We did not even have computers. We had a completely different world you can't imagine. So well, and then everything changed. So I started my career rather young as a in transport and logistics. At 25, I was already a business unit manager in transport, leading 100 men, which was as a woman not well, a bit strange, but it was also fun because we had such a good team. And later on, I went to all kinds of jobs. I was not exactly a job hopper, but every 3, 4 years, I did have another job because I was bored after a while. And then I thought, well, let's do something else. So that's a bit what I want to say to young people and future of jobs. Never think you cannot change jobs. If things are a bad choice, I had one choice once where I came from a wonderful job and I had a job that only lasted like 9 days because I hated the work. And after that, I just said, okay, now I'm going to have another job. So I just got that from my CV because people do not want to see that. But then I got another job and it was all okay. So my jobs were mainly 7 years for the two companies I worked for that were really my best jobs. And the other times I was mostly 3 to 4 years to progress a job because I always wanted to contribute value to a job. And then I moved on to, well, something else, another country or another job field or things like that. I'm really curious person.
Wonderful. That's really awesome. And then here you are with Abundance for All. That's a really great company. And I was looking through the previous episodes you've had. The basically the podcast where you've been to. Those were really great as well. You shared some really great insights, and I hope um, in this episode we're gonna do something even more unique for our listeners. So, Desiree, what was the turning point that inspired you to dedicate your life to designing a world of abundance instead of
Yeah.
scarcity?
Well, first of all, I've always been a bit of an idealist. I, at some point, came into nature, more close to nature. I saw how we, well, wreck our food with too harsh chemicals. I just realized that all this industrialism is really difficult for, yeah, to be healthy. So I thought, let's put health for everybody. And health is, of course, very, very related to economy. Well, I studied economy when I was in my youth. I did economy and cultures. So I thought if I combine ecology, so that is nature, then you have ecology and economy. And then you can find how you do abundance for all. Because if you have, then you also have health. So that is how I see economy and ecology. And then I, of course, go to the word, and they both come from Greek, ekos, euekos, and they mean, and ecology is the, well, the knowledge of the household, and that is, of course, a planet. We are spinning around with thousand. I thought, okay, but what if we design the economy in an abundant way like ecology? Because a cherry tree never thinks about how many blossoms she makes. She just makes huge amount of blossoms, and then everything is degradable that is not like used by species or people or eaten. And that was my starting point for abundance for all. So I needed to know more about ecology, and that became biomimicry, because biomimicry is math. It is nature's math. It is geometry. And it also is city design. It also is architecture, but healthy architecture without sick building syndrome. It also is abundance of food in cities, so edible cities. I love it, with plant walls cooling the planet. I really love that part. Also cleaning with plants, because, well, plants clean the air and water and everything. So everything for me became about plants and about fungi and about edible mushrooms and about farmer business models and, well, all these things, because they're so related to ecology and economy. And yeah.
Exactly. That's really great. Plants are really important for our planet, and especially right now, the things are becoming more difficult for us. For not only for human beings but for animals as well. They are also struggling with the oxygen, with the environment. So, Desiree, after spending a lot of time, probably with the jobs you were doing randomly, and then you mentioned that you left jobs very quickly, like you didn't stick to the jobs for a long time. So, how did that idea doing something for people for all came into your mind?
I must say, I woke up one morning and then I thought, okay, I'm an intelligent woman. I spend a lot of time in my work. I did not have children, so I thought I need to do something for the children of the world. I did have a husband, but we didn't have children. So I thought, let's do it for the children and the grandchildren of the world. And I thought, okay, so I am intelligent. I want to know how these things work. I have always worked in tech, which is really important with the math and the understanding and the tech. So I thought, why not contribute to, well, health of these children and nature, because I love nature and I love our planet. So I really thought, well, let's not dive deeper into that. I was into sciences. I thought, let's start a think tank with all these scientists, because all these scientists are very deep into one subject. But the thing is, you cannot solve it with one subject. If you want to do no malaria, then you have to know how mosquitoes are, and you have to say no mosquitoes without killing all the rest. So it's no use thinking, okay, but then we put a chemical on it, because then the birds will eat the mosquitoes and the poison mosquitoes, and the birds will die. So I thought, okay, so you go the other way. And that is where, yes, we now design cities that are mosquito repellent. And mosquito repellent cities are, for instance, cities full of walnut trees, because walnut trees, mosquitoes don't like walnut trees. And they are cities where all the water is flowing and not really still, because mosquitoes breed, well, a lot of bacteria, wrong bacteria, pathogens, and everything do that too. So we thought, okay, so you need absorbent materials in a city. You need to have like wetlands so they don't sink the cities themselves. You need to have lighter materials, which are fiber polymers then, instead of steels or instead of so things like that. And of course, when I started in 2012, I was not at this point. And that's also what I want to say to young people. You start walking, and then you come to what it is you are supposed to do, because a lot of things I cannot do. So I am not the deep scientist or the deep mathematician, but I do work, the architect, but I do work. We do ecology and economy. We built a very beautiful and plant-walled city hall in Venlo, my city. And then we took a lot of budgets together, and we designed it in such a way that the city hall was 13 million in initial investment, more expensive. But because we had minimum maintenance, we had maximum rest value with a material passports, we had all these things. There's a lot of assets and cash flows then going in the whole thing. And it meant that the whole building, although it was 13 million more expensive in the beginning, it was profitable in year 2. Because we had less sick leave, we have less this, less that, less such and less so, and it was really, and it even cleaned like the area around the building. So it is like you do all these plus together, and then in the end, you also make it profitable in money. So that is what Planet People Profit is all about. Because you do multiple profits. Let me put it like that.
Exactly. That is wonderful. In your experience, how does scarcity quietly show up in people's thinking or language without them noticing?
Yes, a lot of people use a lot of no, they fight a lot. They say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Every time you say no, you have to say, what is it? So, no illness, what is it? Well, it is a healthy building, or no illness is no mosquitoes, or no illness can be no something else. So, you have to go a bit around the no. If you say no windmills, you have to still do renewable energy. So, what else is there? And you make an alternative economic plan instead of going on the street and say no windmills. It's no use. What is no? People don't know what they should do. So if you want to convince your leaders that you do not want windmills, then there are like and there is a document on our website, and I will give you a wonderful code at the end to download it with a big discount, because there is so much that can be done different. And if you say no windmills, you can do wave energy, which is also biomimicry, or you can do thermodynamics, and it's also biomimicry, or you can do there's at this moment even vibration catchers, so they do not have the blades. So that could be a solution. You have kites, you have the ship that even has, I don't know, are you Indian, Fahad, or are you
No,
Pakistan?
I'm from Pakistan.
Pakistan, yes, okay. Well, there is this Taiwanese company, and they have built, together with a Belgian and a Japanese think tank, they have built a ship. And the ship is really brilliant because it goes on green hydrogen, kites instead of sails, so they really go with the wind, and solar. So they really combine it all, and it does not have anything else but the water it goes on, so the hydrogen and the wind and the sun. And that is something that you do not even need, like coals or windmills or anything else, to have such a ship just going on nature. And that is something that also in innovation agendas, of course, is done, because at this moment there is big innovation agendas about the airplanes that do it like that. So they work on green hydrogen. They also have like the innovation agendas of cars and other vehicles. They go on light stripes in the road, because then you see that you make the road, you connect the road to the vehicle as if it is a ship in a river, a fish in a river. And then you really mimic it and see that you do the light stripes in the road to have solar roads. And then you have like the vehicles that also, and if you then would do it, and that is really science fiction, but I sometimes do it with my students, the big science fictions. Um, if you would say, okay, the microplastics in the air come from a big part of it is coming from the tires, the tire wear of the tires. So then if you would say no microplastics, then you would say, okay, go for light stripes, and then vehicles, and then no wheels. So you would really go like you either bounce a little like you do in biomimicry. You can really, but it is like in technical ways. And of course, a lot of my work is rather technical. You would do hovercraft style. The boats are already there. So you just lift it up and you just go on the light stripes or on the sound or on the waves. You would just have your vehicles and have no tires and no wheels, no tires, no microplastics. So there are a lot of these futuristic ways, and I love to do that with young students because I'm 60. As said, I'm really not doing it all on my own. The young people will really do it now. But it is so beautiful to really think about like the healthy futures where we have no microplastic pollution, where we have biodegradable materials because of enzymes, for instance, that kick in at some point. A lot of it is already invented, I must say, because we had, of course, a big environmental movement. And a lot of it can be found in universities. And with the current AI, it is at the fingertips of the young people. So they can really look for their prompt lists and how to find it for their innovations, their startups, their scale-ups, to really see it, and also then think about the business models with it, because a business model is also a sustainable business is also something very important in the whole thing, because otherwise you won't survive. So you cannot say it's idealism, because you need to have a sustainable, lasting business model.
Exactly, Desiree. And most of the people are using maybe plastic tires, because it is removing the entire material which you're talking about, which is the main evil here. So maybe that could also improve this thing,
Yeah,
and maybe it can also become a cause, you know, uh, behind removing the microplastics.
absorbing is a very important word to remember. Absorb. So absorbing and transforming is really what you do in biomimicry. So you absorb and you transform. And for instance, in my time, there were already the companies in the Netherlands, but also really the big companies that have, for instance, carpets that clean the air in homes or in. So they really transform. They take the dust and they transform it in the carpet. So all these in thing is very important for the transforming. So that is what biomimicry does a lot. We take how nature does stuff and then we remodel what we want to use to do it like nature does it. So it's not so much only bio-based. It's, of course, we use plants and plants do the work for us, but we also model it with the math and the technical and the material design, and all these things are very important to really have very energy efficient, because nature is the most energy efficient way. And at this moment, for instance, you see the AI companies using the biomimicry math to make their algorithms energy efficient. And that is really fascinating to see. So also there is a lot to learn if you go digital to see how you can do it.
Exactly, totally agreed with you. So you describe your philosophy as simple complexity. What does that mean in the way you make decisions or lead projects?
Yeah. Well, of course, I always look at my customer. If you have a government customer, they want um, yeah, a whole healthy area. So you have to look at what is there, make a gap analysis with what you want it to be. And then I always go for water and soil, because those are most important. You need absorbent soil, you need water, enough drinking water. And you also go for the jobs in a region, because governments really want jobs. And that is not government jobs, because those are not growing the economy. Those are only costs. So if you have to have a cleaner, it is a cost because you go lean, which is the Japanese concept of doing things first thing right. So you don't have to clean. So you clean at the source, for instance. You clean really close to where the pollution is. And those things are very important to think about. And so when I have a government, I always optimize for those things. If I have a harbor, for instance, we optimize the harbor. We also do it for energy. We do it for multimodal transport. And we do it for in the harbor diversity, so biodiversity. So those three are then most important in a harbor area. If you optimize for a company, say for an architecture firm, then of course you have to also think about the business model. So you have to think about, okay, how are they going to do it? What kind of customers will they have? And how are they going to make it work for their business model? Because there are more architecture companies and they can all say, we do biomimicry and one does this and the other does that and whatever it is. So you really have to make it special. Okay, but this is what we specialize in and this is what we do. So that is where you go also with the marketing then, the marketing for the whole thing. I sometimes work for a sector, like here in Greece at this moment, I have two projects. I have a government project, No Wildfire, and I have a project for the tourism industry. So these are really different because one are the small companies, the companies in a cluster, and the other one is for a real healthy area. So they have a bit different projects. So if, for instance, you go for a tourism project and you have a pristine area and you want to keep it pristine, then you fill, for instance, only the off-season and you go marketing. We built a Facebook group with 82,000 people in it for Peloponnese living, because we say we want to fill the off season, and then you just go marketing and you say, okay, but who is going to come? It will be maybe semi-pensioners, pensioners. It's a rural area. It's really beautiful. So, but it's also, it needs like jobs for young people. So we say, okay, maybe digital nomads, they want to really live, but then you need to have good Wi-Fi. So things like that, we tell that to the hotels that want to fill their empty rooms and their empty studios and apartments. We say, okay, do you have good Wi-Fi? Otherwise it doesn't work. You will not have that. So you kind of connect dots there. So it's not like economy is wrong. No. It is like you use the principles of economy, dynamics of economy, and the dynamics of ecology to really make sure you do the both. And then you can also say, for instance, we have a lot of olive trees here, and we have in Europe, you're not allowed to make many health claims for biology. But one is antioxidants, and the high polyphenol olive oil is definitely fits into a blue zone diet, a Mediterranean diet. So you are allowed to make that health claim. And then we say, okay, so you can export to medical markets and have a very high margin on it. And then you can say, okay, but we are a collective, a consortium of olive oil producers, so we have too much for just that medical market. And you say, okay, so the rest we do in our area, Peloponnese, and we make the branding Peloponnese Living, and it is a health branding. It is for people who want to experience blue zones and really be part of that whole vibe of relaxed and siesta life and things like that, and a bit better for your neural system and things like that. So yes, and then we attracted because we use again a principle of diversification of prices, because the medical market, you can have high margin, but you sell only a little. And to the bigger market, you sell the rest. So we always go 80-20. So the 80% you maybe do in the bigger market, but it will be also for your locals very healthy, because it is still available for locals. It's not leaving the country. And that is very good, because health should not leave your country just for big margins in America or whatever. So that is something really important to balance with the 80-20. Is it clear, Fahad, or do you have specific questions about this?
Exactly. It is very clear, and you know exactly. So, coming on the next question, you worked with the European Commission on systematic transformation. What's the biggest
Yeah.
barrier you see when governments or institutions try to become regenerative?
The problem is they don't. The problem is they make everything more expensive. So the businesses do it. That is my personal experience. I know that in the global goals, they say you have to have strong institutions, you have to have strong governments. But government jobs are cost. If you go to hospital, it's a cost. You need to have a health system that is close to people and that is making them healthy. And like, yeah, Ayurveda in the whole, or TCM, the holistic medicine way of life and way of looking at stuff, holistic health is, it needs to be brought very close to people so that they understand it, the biology, because otherwise, yeah, you're just, I don't know, you're making the whole system more expensive, and that means that people have to work harder to even pay when they go sick. And then, yeah, so, and also in the European Union, the biggest problem is that I am a subsidy judge. So we have Horizon programs, and you have a lot of these things. But first of all, you have a lot of subsidy hoppers who just hop from subsidy to subsidy and never make it into a business model. The other thing is that, there is so much bureaucracy in the whole system of subsidies, at least in Europe. I don't know how it is in Pakistan, but in Europe it is so bureaucratic that, and so old-fashioned also, that I hope digital will make that better. But there is many conferences, and we in Holland, we always say in a conference, we have this little rhyme. We dronken een glas, we deden een plas en alles bleef zoals het was. We drank a glass of water, we peed, we went for a pee, and then everything stayed as it was. So you are inspired for a little bit, and it costs a lot of money, all these conferences and all these people coming together trying to be important. But the businesses have to do it. So the businesses and the ones that make the business models and the ones that, so what I have seen in my 12 years now, I've started the company in 2012, is that consortiums of government together with companies, or consortiums of, this summer I wrote another report for a consortium of organic farmers, big scale, the ones with the precision farming and the soil scans and things like that. So they do nowadays a lot on the whole digital stuff. but also crop choices to be really good in the models. And then they combined it with bio-based builders. So you have the fiber polymers and you have the bio-based builders, the fiber builders. That can be bamboo builders. It can also be, I don't know, it's all kinds of fibers. There are fast-growing trees, you have grasses, you have all kinds of fibers. Also rest material fibers, organic fibers. And I think the fiber polymers, because like steel pollution is really, really, really big still from the industrial age. So we need to go for more lightweight, and we need to go, so that is fiber polymers. You really should jump from steel, close to steel factories. I'm sorry, Tata Steel, I'm sorry, but close to steel factories. My parents worked there and they even could not dry their washings outside. So please, like I'm 60 and that was so many years ago, even electrification of your process will not help, because only the steel waste will, and the pollutants of the heavy steel will not go into the air, but it will go into the steel slag. And then they say we make it circular and put it in the soil. Well, that is stupid because it is very polluting. So close the steel and go beyond industrialism, go beyond what we think we know, and really go not electric but electronic. Go go green hydrogen. Go light stripes is really good. Go so all these things are very important to make jumps, and then you can even power a house with gravity, because you have piezoelectronics and you have a little movement. If you do, like I don't know, you have earthquakes and you make earthquake resistant, and you all know that the building is doing a little bit, tiny bit of this, and then you have piezoelectronics, and then you can just power with the pressure of the roof, which is like something that in our current technical state, it is all possible. So I want young people, please. And I know your countries in Asia are very, very technical. So go even a bit technical and make sure you use digital to the wonderful. Make sure you use technical for the buildings. Make sure you design your cities healthy. Make sure you use prompt lists for your AI to say, okay, how do I do no mosquitoes? Because if you want to do no malaria and no dengue, you have to go mosquito repellent. And you know it's lavender, you know it's certain smells. And smells, go for fragrance cities. I don't care. But do something that makes you happy as young people, with colors and fragrances, but beautiful smells, and not the harsh ones that make us allergic, but make it subtle, make it really a breeze here and a breeze there, and make it nature-based. And then you will repel with certain smells, and you know which ones. You repel mosquitoes, and then you will have no malaria, no dengue. And like Europe has done it with canalization. So we have canals, like in Amsterdam, we have canals. So that was, I think, about 100 years ago, we became malaria-free with canals. Greece was 50 years ago, I think, that they became really malaria-free and also have enough water springs. So that was all canalization. So learn from what we did. And then also go really about holistic. So combine things.
Exactly. As you mentioned, the young people. My voice is coming back. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. That is such a wonderful advice, and that really was a great conversation. And you're mentioning a lot of time, very often about the digital devices and the connection between young people and this digital world. Like they know more about these things, and they can use it more freely and quickly and easily. So we must use these old skills that we have by the grace of God. We should use it to place, and we all are doing it. We are, as you are already uh, doing Abundance for All, which is a great organization, and I must say that organizations are pushing the lead, the presidents of the countries to take decisions for their countries, for the betterment of their countries. So, finally, if you could give every listener one daily habit to start living abundance today, what would it be?
Well, I think even if you do, um, first of all, do your own personal thing. That means breathing. Really breathe deeply and make sure that you just have a happy and relaxed life, because stress is the biggest ill maker. And I don't want people to be fearful. The earth will spin another 5 billion years before the sun dies. We all know that. So if you are fearful, use your AI and really make sure it reassures you and not gives you these ideas that you, I don't know, young people sometimes jump off bridges because they really are so depressed about sustainability. And you should not be, because we are getting there. And my generation has done their best, and a lot of it has gone wrong. And I'm sorry for that. But it is really going to the right direction now. I can say that. So the other thing is use your AI and really, make sure you ask some questions about how would I do no malaria, or how would I do? So a lot of the how questions. How would I do? Um, um, yeah, well, everything is like, yeah. So ask the how question. Don't use AI just to make the next beautiful picture of you looking beautiful and not having wrinkles anymore. That's no use in my case. So if you're as old as I, then you do not do these things. So, but ask these little how questions for your work. How would I do this? How would I do that? And then I also want to invite you, and everybody is very welcome to abundanism.com. We have free materials to browse in the website, download them, no problem at all. If you have a more expensive report like the energy one, Beyond Windmills, I now, for instance, have a code Synergy Energy 25, and it will allow you to download that report with 80% discount. But also reach out to me. I have on Fridays, I have the possibility to have free calls. So you can book them. You can book free calls, a free coffee chat, do it. And I can give you codes to really see, okay, this is it, what I'm looking for. I will give you discounts. Don't worry. I will give you discounts on whatever it is you need as young people to be able to do your challenges in your jobs, because I have only a few years left in my career, and I want to give this forward, this whole way of thinking. And I don't want money to be a limitation for that. So ask for discounts. I'm also on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's my name. You see it here in the. So reach out via DM. Ask me what the possibilities are. Ask me to get discounts. Ask me for consultancy or whatever it is you need. And then I will make sure that I spend my time with the young people to do education, to make sure that everybody understands and that all the things that we have already invented, like the people of my age, I have a lot of these older people in my group, a lot of scientists also, and they don't have the time to do all these talks, so I do them for them. And so we
Wonderful.
can bring you on a right track, but then it depends on what kind of job you have. Today, I had a call, for instance, with a landscape designer. She wanted a business model, how to do it. Well, those things are all possible. So, but also for architects, also for city designers, also for, I don't know, food designers, also for, there's lots of things you can do to make food security happen, to make no wildfires happen, to douse wildfires with frequencies or helium and not extract water, to not sink cities, to all these things. There's so much done already, and sometimes it's hard to find because you don't know what you don't know, and a lot of people don't know what they should ask their AI. So I said to our scientist, I will be the AI button, and on Fridays, for future Fridays, I will have possibilities to, yeah, to give me a call and tell me what your problem is, and then we can see how you can get it for discounted prices, for bringing you on in your career and for your abundance, because that is really important to think about your abundance and abundance systems also.
It really is. It really is. And that is, I would say, a wonderful opportunity. And as Desiree already mentioned about her name, you can just simply type on LinkedIn, Desiree Driesenaar, and founder of Abundance for All, and you can reach out to her regarding her website and discounts. And thank you so much, Desiree, for turning on again and for giving me your precious and valuable time for the amazing conversation we just had. And I really admire to watch the full conversation. You can find out a lot of things about Desiree, about what we should do and what we should not. So till then, inshallah, meet you soon with another amazing podcast with another amazing guest.